Good morning, respected faculty, dear students, and everyone who have tuned into the International Colloquium on World Freedom of Press Day. This event has been organized by the Department of Visual Communication, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, Coimbatore, and we are institutional members of the International Association for Media and Communication Research, IAMCR, and have organized this event in partnership with Media and Information Literacy India Network, MILIN. 3rd May acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom and is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. Just as importantly, World Press Freedom Day is a day to support for media, especially who are targets for the restraint of abolition of press freedom. It's also a day of remembrance for those journalists who have lost their lives in the pursuit of a story. Today, we have brought together some of the experts from industry and academia for this international colloquium on 3rd May 2021, which marks UNESCO's World Freedom of Press Day. Today, we have many events lined up for you. We've already begun the day with 2 sessions of a journalist's perspective and insider view with Mr. Sam Daniel, Bureau Chief, NDTV Chennai, as well as with Mr. Ramanathan S., journalist and partner for content and strategy at the News Minute. These were 2 wonderful sessions where the discussion was heated as well as interesting and power-packed. We will share the links to the same in the chat box too. If you have missed it, definitely have a look at these insightful and interesting sessions. Our students communicated with these 2 journalists and have obtained a deeper insight and understanding into a journalist's world. Absolutely apt for today. Now, we begin a virtual live debate competition and a live quiz competition, which is absolutely lined up for all of you to participate in. I would now like to invite Ms. Arpita and Ms. Vikashini, the hosts for the debate today, to take over and begin the virtual live debate competition.
Hello everyone. A very warm welcome to the virtual debate competition. The students of Visual Communication Department from Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, Coimbatore, will face off today in a virtual verbal battle right here, right now. The topic in motion for today is digital divide or digital inclusion, which is a COVID reality.
The growth and widespread adoption of information and communication technology has elevated the importance of digital literacy in our society. At the same time, it has shed light on the digital divide, which refers to the gulf between those who have ready access to computers and the internet and those who do not. As the internet becomes increasingly embedded in the lives of individuals, communities, and nations, it is more critical than ever before to ensure universal access and give people the ability to access and use information and communication technology, and in turn cause digitally inclusion. This is very relevant topic, especially in this COVID context. And today, to speak from both sides, we have with us 4 speakers in support of digital divide as COVID reality, and 4 speakers in support of digital inclusion as the COVID reality.
Let us first present you the rules. The speaker from each team will speak alternatively for 5 minutes each. The speakers will be judged based on organization and clarity, use of arguments, and presentation style. There will be 2 winners selected in the end, one of which will be graded and selected by our judges, and another one will be on popular choices, which will be based on voting. In the end, Of all the arguments, we will share a link where you can cast your vote for the People's Choice Best Speaker today. So, I hope all the participants are ready.
Hey, wait. We also have the class live ritual quiz for World Freedom of Press Day, which will now begin. It will run in parallel. The participation link will be shared in the chat box below now. Please use the link to participate in the live ritual quiz. The quiz will stop accepting responses at 1:30 p.m. This is open to students from all colleges and schools who are older than 14 years. Participation e-certificates will be given to all students. Both the winners of the virtual debate and quiz will be announced at 5:30 p.m. and their certificates will be sent by courier to them.
In case there are multiple winners for the quiz, the person with the shortest answering time will be given the prizes. So, getting back to the debate, first we have with us Shakti Sneha, who will be talking on the topic digital divide.
A warm good morning to the honorable jury, respected teachers, and my fellow debaters. I'm Shakti Sneha from class Viscom, and today I'm here to present my views against the motion of digital divide. Before that, we should know what digitalization is. It is the conversion of text, pictures, or sound into a single platform, which is the digital form. This reduces the human work and helps in easy storage of all the data. Everything is okay. We got to know the brighter side of digital divide since we evolved. Now let's get to the darker side of it. Today morning, we had a questioning session with our guest journalist, Mr. Sam Daniel. When there was a question raised regarding the main cause of digital divide, he told that the internet should be affordable to all the people. We might think that basic gadgets and recharge plans are most affordable to all the people. This is only when we see it from far. But when we go in depth, it's totally different. Imagine that you are a person who is living in a slum with daily average wage of 100 to 150 rupees. Let's take in a month, you get 3000 to 4000 rupees and you live in a family of 4. According to the cost of living in India, especially in this pandemic with 4000, you can just provide shelter and food in a basic level. Do you really think they can afford technology? Even though they buy an Android mobile through EMI, there is a need to buy a SIM card. There is a need of recharge plans each month, and also there is need of electricity. If the person is living in a hut house with candle as light every evening, how is it even possible to charge the mobiles? To thought processing, right? The major cause of this digital divide is due to the economic line. Speaking about this in detail, let me tell you where this digital divide takes place more. Firstly, it occurs during the time of crisis. That is, we have our COVID pandemic right now. People who are well versed with technology have an upper hand in this pandemic, whereas it is vice versa for the people who are not well informed about technology. Let me tell you a very well known example we go through right now in this situation. It's the vaccination program. In order to get vaccinated, we need to register in a website created by our government. People who are digitally well versed with technology can do this, and their priorities to get vaccinated will be higher than that of the people who are digitally uneducated. Secondly, it is the mental inferiority complex. Let's take two friends where one boy is super rich and other is from a very low background. What happens here is the rich boy tend to show off his gadgets to his poor friends, where his poor friend feels insecure and inferiority complex develops there. The best example is the Tamil movie named Kaka Mutte. Though the story is different, few segments shows the rich and poor intimacy between them. This is the major cause of digital divide. Let me tell you few of the real life incidents here. We have seen in few villages where women walk miles to fetch water for their families, even in this pandemic times. We know few urban areas where people don't even get basic need to live a normal life. We have heard of people who kill their own kids in hunger. This pandemic did not affect us much when compared to these people. In this stage of their lives, do you really think these people would actually think or bother about technology? No. There's something called the majority and minority. Just because majority says everything is right, we just can't let the voices of minority go away. Coming back to our third point, digital divide is mainly caused due to the literacy rate. When I googled the result, I myself was shocked to see 90% of Indian people are digitally illiterate. Approximately 40% population is living below the poverty line. Illiteracy rate is more than 20 to 30%, and digital literacy is almost no existence among more than 90% of India's population. Another major cause for digital divide is with the people with disability like blindness or autism. Technology is nothing much for people like them. They couldn't lead a normal life being with who knows how to use technology wisely. Some people are dependent on technology. Some people need technology, whereas some people don't even know what is technology. In this pandemic, rich, middle class, and even the poor can even actually attend online classes. But when we see people below the poverty line who couldn't even afford education even in government schools, where will those kids get the right to education in this pandemic? Okay, let's not only take the poor kids, let's take all in common. Let's take students who study online versus students who study offline. There was a recent research by professors at Harvard and Stanford. These scholars examined the performance of hundreds of students at DeVry University. They offered online and offline versions of all its courses using the same textbook, same assessment and assignments, and also the lecture materials. Even though the courses were identical, students who enrolled online did worse when compared to students who enrolled offline. Maybe for advanced learners, online classes are also a terrific option, but academically challenged students need a classroom with the teacher's support. Unfortunately, that is not possible due to this pandemic situation which we go through right now. COVID has turned up the entire world upside down in all aspects, especially with digital divide. Coming to the conclusion, I would like to end my speech with a bitter truth that is, in search of digital dignity, we tend to lose our basic humanity. That is the today's topic, which is the COVID reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. Next up, we have Mitisha talking about digital inclusion.
Good morning to everyone present here, the judges, the contestants, and the fellow people. Now, I'm here to talk about digital include. The future is now. Do not fear the digital world. It will not kill us. Digital inclusion, it's nothing but it refers to the activities that necessarily ensure that all individuals and communities, including the most disadvantaged and the marginalized, have access to the information and communication technologies which are being developed in the nation. With tremendous growth in the use of smartphones over the last decade, the world has been getting connected to better internet services at affordable prices, which has helped learn a lot of new things from various institutions in various corners of the world, which would otherwise have not been possible without, if not for the internet and the information and communication technologies. Also, these days, the internet services in mobile phones have come down at cost very terrifically. Unlike earlier, parallelly, along with the growth of use of mobile phones and internet, there has also been in the growth of use of social media, which has led to increase in networking of people that helps even the marginalized and the well-off of the society get equal opportunities to socialize and have a community built together from any corner of the world. This phenomena thereby has helped in the capacity of building people to grow and put forward their talent from any corner of the world to out for the whole world and help people have a capacity to help each other to grow and support the digital champions. In times like now, where there is a pandemic going all over the world, it is only through these information and communication technologies that the world is being connected. And it is getting back slowly and steadily to the normal activities where people are getting back normal, but with a new term called the new normal, where almost everything from learning to business to trade to services, almost everything that can happen online is happening online. Digitalization has also helped decrease in the gap of the old and young because it has made them all somewhere dependent and united over one thing, and that is the digital world, the information and communication technologies. It is including every part of the world. It is not only because of uh, like there's pandemic, but also digitally things are getting advanced, and people now thereby connect and are tending to have a bond with each other. It is only because of digital include that even the marginalized have been able to have a proper source of education during this time of pandemic. They haven't wasted their time on unproductive things, rather have invested their times and have got certain sources and have learned things. Digital inclusion has helped in removing the hindrance of time, space, and almost every course has moved online, where students have this luxury of learning from reputed in universities and institutions, which was a dream for them to reach before uh, the digitalization. Because imagine staying in India and you just want to do a course abroad in the Harvard. You just can't do it because you need to afford your stay, your travel, and everything. But because of digitalization, now you can enroll on a course sitting in India at your home and learn from the Harvard University, and on the all the more get certified. Platforms like Coursera and My Captain and all have helped people learn so much through these pandemic with certification. People have learned in this pandemic. There has been a study that a lot of YouTube channels, like formal courses and informal courses, have seen an increase, and clearly it's just because of the new emergence of learning habits, where people are driven by practical skills and they want to learn more through, and the internet has given them an opportunity to do this. Digitalization has not only helped learning but has also made business, industries, and services to develop tremendously through the platform economies like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, and many more. In the words of Zinkin, no economy, no company, in fact, no individual can develop to its full potential today without embracing two fundamental trends, that is, globalization and digitalization. They will dominate for quite some time. And my friends, I think it's the right time that we can see both globalization and digitalization coming together and helping the world grow, even in this time of the pandemic where nothing is stopped. It's only because of digitalization that one can communicate to other from any corner of the world, and one can buy things from anywhere and learn things from anywhere. All I would like to say and end my speech with is the world is changing very fast. Big will not be the small anymore. It will be the fast beating the slow. And it's high time that we all tend to adapt to this digitalization, get included, and accept it and move ahead and win over the world. Thank you.
Wow, that was a really great, tough fight, Mithisha, against digital divide. Now we've got real great insights about what is digital inclusion. Up next, we have Surinder Raj, who is here to speak on digital divide.
Hello, good morning everyone present here. I am Surendra Raj from class Viscom. Let us directly get into the point of digital divide. The term digital divide is used to refer to a large gap in the technology use between two groups. The two groups can be divided along economic, racial, age, or even gender lines. Digital divide between two different countries or regions of the world is referred to as the global digital divide. Examining this, the technical gap between developing and developed countries on an international scale. In education, especially, the digital divide most often refers to a divide in technology use along economic lines. The digital divide measured in terms of bandwidth is not closing and fluctuating up and down. There has been an increased equality from 2014. Digital divide is simply the gap between the technology and the skill to use the digital world and those who don't. According to the reports of UN Global Department Deals Indicators of 2018, only nearly 4% out of 100 are having computers in African countries, and it is 4 to 12 in India. Who is affected in digital divide? Those who are in low economic lines, language barriers, and have little education. Nearly about at the age group of 55 and older report the least using the internet of all age groups, while those of 18 to 24 report using the high internet. In America, nearly 45% of students are below the low income household, and they are not offered to internet at houses and are required from schools, but it is not possible in such pandemic period. It is crucial that schools provide essential tools and skills for students who don't have access to digital devices at house. Access is not the only issue. Students need to learn digital literacy in order to understand how to use technology and contribute to the digital success and responsibly. The digital gap isn't getting smaller unless educators are trained in digital literacy and prepared to educate students on how to use technology as upcoming digital citizens. School is the place where students gain knowledge, learn, and are equipped for future. But if students only have access to books, more than half of our world population are digitally illiterate. Africa is nearly 48 population without access. In the country that are connected, male internet users outnumber their female counterpartners in every region of the world. Today, half of the world population is digitally illiterate. Only 24% of the Indian household have an internet facility, while 66% of the Indian population are living in rural area. Only 15% of the rural household have access to internet facility, and it's 42 in case of urban households. This is according to the National Survey Report 1780. In New York Times, in high schools and colleges, there are molding evidences that the growth of online education is hurting on a particular class of students who are in need of a physical teacher. Online resource can supplement the traditional teaching but can never replace it. Many students who have flunked in classroom take the online courses, but the pass rate in these online courses are very high, and students who take them tend to graduate from the high school instead of flunking out. These online courses often give students an easy passing grade without teaching them very much. During the times of COVID, we are all connected digitally, but at the same time, the technology we rely on to keep connected and informed is enabling and amplifying an infodemic that continues to undermine the global response and geoparadise measures to control the pandemic. An infodemic is an overabundance of information, both online and offline. It includes deliberate attempts to disseminate wrong information to undermine the public health response. Misinformation and disinformation can be harmful to people's physical and mental health. As said earlier, digital world is not going to kill you, but here are a few examples. According to the Commonwealth Journal of Internal Affairs, at least 27 people in 9 states were killed in a period of June and July of 2018 in a series of horrific mob lynching when rumors of child kidnaps on messaging application WhatsApp went viral throughout the country. And number of cow vigilant attacks where all these happened due to the misinformation being circulated on digital platform. Even today, I have traveled nearly 4 kilometers to attend this session due to get a proper internet connectivity. The digital divide is real, and a platform approach can bridge the gap. The main aspect of narrowing the digital divide can be building the bridge of platformization. We are in a worse time fighting the deadly disease. And let us not lose hope and spread positivity with some oxygen. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Wow, what an interesting argument. Next, we have Adriel to talk about digital inclusion.
Good morning, respected judges, my worthy opponents, faculty members, and fellow audience. I'm Adriel, and I'm hereby standing for the motion Digital Inclusion. And if I have your permission, I would like to begin by saying that the digital world is initially becoming a part of our daily life, and it's almost one of the basic needs in our life in these recent times. With the current pandemic happening and the social distancing in place, the digitally excluded are at a great disadvantage as they cannot speak to the loved ones who are far away and interact with others. So let me get straight into the point. Digital inclusion can be known as the expansion of connectivity and the adoption of the internet in different societies. Basically known as providing the different societies the access to high-speed broadband, improving the digital literacy rates, and by ensuring the affordability of these digital solutions. To provide all these necessities, Digital India was launched by the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, on July 2015. See, but the most disappointing thing is that these emerging technologies such as the internet, mobile phones, and artificial intelligence, which is AI, are very useful in the developed world. But this will further widen the gap between those who are connected to the internet and those who are not. But we can overcome these hindrances of digital inclusion by improving the infrastructure of this media, by making the internet and smartphone more affordable to the people, by training those who have been left behind in the divide, by including them, by producing relevant content which are more useful for the society, by closing the gender gap which is seen in the internet world between male and female. These are the things which can be done to reduce the amount of people without digital media in their life. Also, it's shown in a recent UK report by Booz and Co. that the universal digitization has a potential to gain economic and social benefits for the individuals. It's shown that it improves the quality of life through saving time by doing activities, by giving better information and better access to this information, by improving the education and the education system for everyone, by improving the health and well-being, by improving employability to flexible working from anywhere around the world. These digital skills are easy to learn and can be learned quick if they have gained a lot of interest in this digital world. So let me state you some facts. The most recent report from the International Telecommunication Union, which is the ITU, says that at the end of 2018, only 3.9 billion people, or 51.2% of the world's population, use the internet in one way or the other. Many of them who do not use the internet live in least developed countries (LDCs), landlocked developing countries (LLDCs), and small island developing states (SIDS). According to UNESCO, the percentage of women who access the internet is 12% lower than that of men. The majorities of these women live in Africa and in the countries of Middle East. Let me also tell you about a thing called platform economy. See, the platform economy is an economic and social activity that is facilitated by platforms and the tendency for commerce to increasingly move towards and favor digital platform business models. Basically, such platforms are typically online sales or technology frameworks. Platforms are underlying computer systems that can host services that allow consumers, entrepreneurs, businesses, and the general public to connect, share resources, or sell products. By far, the most common types are transaction platforms, also known as digital matchmakers. Examples of transaction platforms include Amazon, Flipkart, Airbnb, Uber, and Baidu. So, as the first speaker, Shakti Sneha told that 20 to 30% of people are illiterate in India. It's because of the digital divide. We can change this by introducing digital inclusion media to them, which will help them study anything from anywhere around the world. It will help them understand the current society and increase their literacy in normal and in their digital life. Digitization essentially began with the advent of computers in 1950s and into later improving them gradually from a big box to a thin and sleek laptop or mobile phone which we have these days. Imagine how these digital items would be in the next 10 years. The digital world will keep on improving every year, and the people who are on the divide would have to start sooner or later so that they would adapt to the change easily than struggling later or being left behind. The choice is yours where you want to be. If you're on my side, I'm there to assist you. Thank you for your precious time.
Wow, that was a really great tough fight, Adriel. I would like to next call up Ananya, who is here to speak on digital divide.
Good morning to one and all present here, judges, teachers, and my fellow debaters. I'm Ananya Ramakrishnan, and I'll be talking about digital divide and the disadvantages of internet in the world. Access to the internet has enabled many of us to get on with our lives despite the pandemic, thanks to modalities such as a remote working and online education. But the reality isn't the same all over the world. In fact, the International Telecommunication Union, the specialized agency of the United Nations, warned at the end of 2019 at almost half of the Earth's inhabitants, some 3.6 billion people, do not have access to the internet. So, what is digital divide? Inequality in access to the internet and ICT is known as the digital divide and affects 52% of women and 42% of men worldwide. This gap becomes even wider when we talk about regions. According to the data taken from the internet portal World Statistics as of May 2020, in Africa, 39% only of inhabitants had access to the internet, compared to 87.2% of Europeans and 94.6% of Americans. The data shows that technological gap that separates some countries from others despite the fact 3G and 4G networks, while awaiting the massive expansion of 5G, are already reaching almost every corner of the planet. Here, it is important to distinguish between access to the internet and digital literacy. That is, the learning process that enables a person to acquire the skill to understand and benefit from the educational, economic, and social potential of the new technologies. Consequences. Technology discrimination is a form of poverty and social exclusion, depriving some cities of essential resources for development and wealth generation. We have seen this lot during the COVID-19 pandemic, as many students and workers found it difficult to work from home and follow online classes. We review the main effects of digital divide below. Lack of communication and isolation. People in remote areas do not have access to the internet, are disconnected. Something similar happens to urban residents who are disconnected, which causes social isolation. Barriers to study and knowledge. The coronavirus crisis has shown the effects of digital divide in education. Teachers and students out of the loop because they lack sufficient technological and digital skills. It also increases lack of knowledge by limiting access to the knowledge. Accentuates social differences. Digital illiteracy reduces the chances of finding a job and accessing quality employment, which has also negative impact on the workers' economy. Gender discrimination. As we saw in the beginning, the digital divide negatively affects women more than men, which violates the principle of gender equality. COVID-19, the greatest digital divide. Why bringing the digital excluded online? should be globally priority, reveals that even before the pandemic hit, 69% of people without online access were living in poverty, and that 48% of offline population wanted to access the internet. Trends that will have intensified due to worldwide events over recent months. The report highlights that even without the global pandemic, the digital divide intersects age, income, and experience. Nearly 40% of people living in poverty have never used the internet because of its cost. And the age group with the highest proportion offline is the sample, those between 18 to 36 old. Complexity of using the internet and perceived lack of interest, stemming from fear and cited by certain segments of offline population. These reasons mean that people are unable to access public service such as a critical healthcare information as government increasingly move to online resources. COVID-19 has demanded a global change in how people live, work, and socialize. As an unemployment source and people isolate from themselves from communities, a basic level of digital inclusion has become almost universally vital. Conducted just prior to the outbreak, and the researchers' findings are now even more permanent in current contexts, with the increasing reliance on digital service exacerbating what was already desperate situation for the online population. Key findings from the report include being offline can lead to feelings of isolation, inadequacy, or loneliness. 46% of offline respondents said that they would feel more connected to friends and family if they had access to the internet. Only 19% of offline people living in poverty said that they had claimed a public benefit that past 12 months due to their income, age, disability, or any other factor. This could become problematic when e-government and online public service increasingly prevalent cities the report. 34% of respondents expressed interests in using the internet to apply for public benefits such as housing, food, and healthcare. Following the digital transformation of public service and increasingly difficulties to their online administration. Thank you.
That was that was amazing, Ananya. And dear audience, don't forget to vote to your favorite person. And next, we have Lux to speak on digital inclusion.
Good morning, one and all present here. My name is Laksh, and I'm here to speak about digital inclusion. So, it's difficult to think about internet and technology nowadays because today's growing world, internet has become one of the most essential tools for our lives. Though my fellow speakers before told that technology has somewhere been a curse rather than a boon and told there's certain disadvantage, but I can assure that in the upcoming days, technology will prove to be very vital and essential. At the same time, during this COVID-19 pandemic, hospitals and a lot of places have helped and provided provide us platform in which a lot of lives have been saved only on the uses of technology. Social media, on the other hand, has played a vital role in helping people, connecting people, especially during the COVID-19, where people are losing their lives due to the less of oxygen cylinders. By spreading and helping people with getting contacts, a lot of lives have been saved due to technology. Technology is now not only seen in hospitals, it's also seen in rural areas. Agriculture has been improved significantly over the past few years due to introduction to technologies and other stuffs. On the other hand, education has played a vital role in this COVID-19 as well. As we can see, offline classes have proven to be very useful, keeping students engaged. And as my fellow speaker Ananya told, a lot of offline classes lead to people being isolated as well. But it's not. Offline classes have helped students to come together, have interactions, avoid loneliness, and even interact with the teachers and go along well. So I would like to even touch on some points that during the lockdown, a lot of people have got jobs and they have been helped financially as well. In this COVID-19, over 193 billion has been earned all over the world by workers and laborers as well. So I would like to conclude by saying that COVID-19 has not just helped people. Have A lot of people have suffered, but at the end, a lot of positives to be taken as well. Not just in terms of financial, but in recognizing talent as well. A lot through social media with Instagram and other platforms, people are able to showcase their talent, and these talents have been recognized in the reality shows as well. So, as far I think it will take some time to improve in the rural areas, but it, technology is very important, which will be recognized by people in the latter coming days. Thank you.
Wow, Laksh, that was a really insightful speech. Thank you so much. And up next, we have Rishabh, who is here to talk on digital divide.
Good morning, I'm Rishabh. Let me start with something that all the students hearing would be so much interested in. Digital inclusion brings in online classes, and just like offline classes, it isn't perfect, but there certainly are more cons in online classes, in offline classes than online classes. Like how it requires more time than actually being on campus, and how it allows students to procrastinate even more than they actually do. And not everyone is an active listener, which makes it difficult for slow learners. And according to a study by the University of Oslo in 2020, it's found that 70% of students in online classes feel more isolated and display disinterest in studies. Okay, let's be honest here. Online education, in my opinion, is such a curse. Can you imagine the number of students who pretend to know what they're doing and copying off during the semester exams? Just imagine the student is studying for something important like medicine or engineering. Can you imagine the plight of a future generation with Google Meet doctors and Teams engineers? And one might argue that they have real exams at the end. But what if the exam misses the essential questions that would be useful in their career? Like, how would you feel if you go to a Google Meet doctor for a vaccine and he starts searching for the syphilic vein? And that's not a good day for you. And earlier, my opponent Adriel told us that literacy can be avoided by digital divide. But my native place, the state with the highest literacy rate in India, Kerala, has the least connection to digital inclusion. People have no idea what's the latest iPhone or something else. Which can be noted that less of a digital divide gap doesn't necessarily mean low literacy rate. And social media nurtures and expands relationships and communication, and the very same attributes that make social media a positive force in our lives makes it potentially dangerous too. For example, anonymity allows for cyberbullying, and this is especially problematic in teens as bullies can target and prey on vulnerable high school peers without taking personal responsibility. And internet addiction is officially listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM for short. And now, this internet addiction is as dangerous as nicotine addiction, but the effects are shown in the long run. A person with half knowledge is much more dangerous than no knowledge. Okay, let's why look at senior citizens? Let's look at our generation, who some of us have no clue how to use the basic technology and are essentially forced to use Google Meets and Microsoft Teams, which can lead to more harm than good. Several cases of purely accidentally unmuting their mics in classes to downright not even knowing how to use a device. In a 2017 study conducted by Harvard University, researchers found out that social media has a significant detrimental effect on the emotional well-being of chronic users and their lives, negatively impacting the real-life relationships and academic achievements. Okay, I know in the internet and the digital age is super indispensable, but some might argue we can't live without the internet. For those people, I respectfully disagree. See, we are humans. We are evolving by the second. And I'm sure if we didn't have internet, we would or could have had something 10 times better or 5 times faster than we have ever used. Human curiosity thrives under needs. That's how languages are created. And the person with that kind of knowledge to create the next Google or the internet could be out there binge watching Netflix or procrastinating sadly. And let's like there's also something called being too connected. The rapid spread of news is good, but almost certainly it has its cons. The rapid spread of news, especially during COVID times, has been the worst. There have been literally tons of false information and in all circulations in WhatsApp and Facebook, making the older generation among us believe that a turmeric can cause and can cure coronavirus. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech, Rishabh. Your speech made us think. Next, we have Sandeep Leo to talk about digital inclusion.
Hi guys, good morning. Yeah, good morning to my worthy opponents, the judges, and the hosts of the show. You all know that internet is not a luxury; it is a necessity. It is the right of each and everyone in this world. Yes, during this pandemic, billions of people are going online to stay in touch. But almost half of the world's population has no access to internet because of digital divide. But digital inclusion can change this. Fewer than 1 in 5 people in least developed countries are connected. From schools getting starting their coursework online to staffs working from home, everything is possible only because of this digital inclusion. Imagine a world without digital inclusion where people could not work, no salary, no food. Students cannot study. For studying nothing, like Rishabh said, online classes are not so good, but for studying nothing, they can learn something through online classes. Not all the people are not studying through online. Among the many inequalities exposed by COVID 19, the digital divide is the most stark, but also among the most surprising, even in developed countries. Internet access is often lower than you might think. Let's take the United States, for example. More than 6% of population, that is 21 million people, have no high-speed internet connection. In Australia, the figure is 13%. Even in the world's richest countries, the web can't keep everyone connected. Globally, just over half of the households, that is 58%, have an internet connection, according to UNESCO. In developed world, 87% are connected, compared with 47 in developing nations and just 19% in the least developed countries. Let's see what digital inclusion is. It can be hard to imagine a world without the internet and the wealth of information and resources it offers. The internet helps streamline our daily lives and connects us with the world around us. But while it may seem natural and common to a lot of people like us, it is still a foreign concept to a lot of people who are not digitally included. They are digitally excluded. According to the Australian Digital Inclusion Index, like 3 million people in Australia are excluded. They don't have digital. They don't have technology. They don't know how to access it. Like low-income people, the elderly, and there are social demographic groups like tribes, people who don't know how to use the internet. A lot of people who still live in the age of caves. Like I don't know. These people don't know how to. They don't even know that something called technology exists. This creates an opportunity for digital divide, and digital divide in current situation is not so good for all of us. You know that you might say that digital has brought in a lot of rumors, a lot of bad stuff. It has changed a lot of people's life. But back then, known to me, rumors were faster than forest fire during the kings and queens times. They were like spreading all over the country. But this now we have some sources to prove that they are just rumors. Digital in our lives, in our everyday lives, is totally unavoidable. We could say our online classes, the fan we use, the cell phones we use. We might find recipes online to cook a food. send messages, mail, pay, make even we make money transfers through the internet using a cell phone. We pay our money that to each and every cent perfectly. We don't have to search for change like it used to be. In this pandemic, in this pandemic, we know that without technology we wouldn't have we wouldn't have been able to survive this pandemic. All around the world, all around the internet, I see people helping each other, where they go in search of blood banks, search of ventilators, search of oxygen, search of beds, all around the country, helping people adopt children, helping people find a good plasma donation, helping people find good hospitals, helping people find the vaccines, all these things. It's only possible because of the digital we live in right now. Yeah, digital inclusion addresses the needs of individual and communities as a whole. So what I'm going to say is the report of Carnage Trust. They say that loneliness, depression, and economic deprivation are significantly higher among the digitally excluded people. Yeah. Digital inclusion not only encompasses the internet but also the availability of hardware, software, digital content, and services. This must be available for the people all over the world. Everyone should be able to access these things. They should be able to learn what digital services are. They should know how to use the digital services. There should be If this is done, we can all achieve digital inclusion. Digital inclusion is done so that everyone can access the internet, not only a few people with power and money. We people who are living in a poor background, who don't even have internet, who don't even have money, can also afford it. It should be affordable by everyone in the world. Internet, even by people who are in a from a low background. Yeah, let's see about India. India and digital inclusion. Yes, India has the world's largest education system with over 250 million students enrolled in 1.5 million schools. Another 37.4 million students enrolled in approximately 50 higher education institutions. Yeah, the COVID 19 lockdown has suspended physical classes, and everything is now online. Let me draw your attention. We all know that in rural areas, it has been hard for people to learn about the age of, like, about the classes of 12, 11, and college. They go from work. But with this current situation online, it's become even more harder because people can't afford technology. They're not able to afford a cell phone. They're not able to afford internet. So let me give the statistics about and highlight the extent of this digital divide. As per the survey report of National Statistics Office titled Household Social Consumption and Education, only 4% of the rural population has access to computers. This has to change. If this changes, our world will be, all the countries in this world will develop. We don't have to see inequalities. We don't have to, we can fight the situation, whatever pandemic it is, we can fight it through. Yes. Now, I would like to conclude my speech with a quote. Technology is a powerful weapon. It is a boon or a bane based on how it is used, because technology can't think, but humans can. The choice is ours. Thank you so much.
Wow, Sandeep, that was really amazing. It was really good, Sandeep. So I guess that was really great and amazing debate competition. And now I guess everyone's aware about what is digital divide and what is digital inclusion in reference to the situation of COVID-19. The result of the debate will be announced at 5:30 p.m. Please do not forget to vote for your favorite participant. I repeat, please do not. With this, we come to the end of today's debate competition. And do not forget to participate in the class live virtual quiz for World Freedom of Press Day as well, which will stop accepting responses at 1:30 p.m. We also have an event guest lecture in the evening. Please do not forget to attend that as well. Thank you so much.